I'm now in Cobble Farm in the Forest of Bowland with the owner, Edwina Miller. Good morning, Edwina.
Good morning. It's a beautiful autumnal day.
It is a lovely day, isn't it, for an interview?
It is very much so, yes.
Could you give me a little bit of history on the farm, how you got started?
Well, we took over from my father-in-law, who came here in the 60s, having had previous generations of people here, family people here for throughout since basically the 1920s. And obviously we've taken over, but we've diversified it a little bit from a traditional working farm into a working farm and gardens and visitor attraction open to the public.
So can I just ask you what the farm type is?
It's an upland beef and sheep farm. Traditionally, when we first took over, it was known as less favoured area. But DEFRA and their wisdom decided to, shall we say, get rid of that, because you either were severely disadvantaged or you had, you were an upland farm, and that's what we are. We are an upland hill farm, 600 feet above sea level, with some fantastic views of the Welsh Mountains and, of course, the Isle of Man.
And how many sheep and cattle do you have?
We have approximately 65 roughly suckler cows now, with obviously followers. And we also have probably in the region of about 800 breeding ewes, and they're a combination of mixed breeds, as in half-bred sheep, which are either Mashams or mules. And then we've also got the horn sheep, which are the Dalesbred and also the Swaledale. And of course we've got as my son calls it, the oddities, which are the rare breeds.
Now, getting on to the rare breeds, how many rare breeds do you have on the farm?
Well, in the cattle wise, we have obviously, which I'm sure you've seen as you came through, we've got the Highland cows, we've also got the Longhorn cows, we've also got belted Galloways, and we've got a White Park as well. So we've got a combination of different cattle. Their particular aim is, as well as being beautiful for the public to see, they're also very useful within creating the right sort of habitats for the wetland birds in the springtime, because they, with their wonderful feet that they do through the ground in the wintertime, they make little micro topographies for the actual little chicks to feed from. Sheep wise, we have got things like Zwarbles. We had a few Shetlands, which we're hoping to get a few more. We've got some Rylands and several other different breeds as well.
And what about the pygmy goats?
Oh, well, the pygmy goats, they're the characters, aren't they? They're really our pets, if we're going to have a pet on the farm. They were brought in for the visitor attraction, and they have become, shall we say, the stars of the show. Because not only do we have them as pets that the public can feed, they also go on a regular walk on a lead like a dog. So, and it's quite an amusing thing to see. So they're walking around the garden, wondering who's taking who for a walk. It can be the children taking the goat, or it could be the goat taking the children. It's quite amusing. But those children will not let go of those goats. No. They keep hold, and they have such an amazing fun time.
Can I ask you a little bit about HLS? Are you actually in HLS?
Yeah, we were originally in the countryside stewardship, and we then modified onto the higher level stewardship just nearly 10 years ago, because we're actually coming out towards the end of it. And that throughout that time, because we were involved with Bowland initiative right from the very start, when they came to have a look at our farm to see if we were, shall we say, suitable environmental farmers, and to be honest, they found us to be quite outstanding in our habitats for birds. We had quite a number of wetland birds at that time, but with working with the RSP and BB and obviously the environmental advisors, we've now created an incredible farm for these wetland birds. And we, of course, the flocks keep growing year upon year, and we have, amazingly, the RSPB counters come to count them every year, which I don't know how they manage to do it, but they do, and the facts are there.
So what about the future of the farm?
The future of the farm, well, it's a bit with everything. It's a bit like Brexit and everything else. Who knows with what's going to happen? At the moment, we are coming to the end of our stewardship, which is quite a big challenge for us, because as well as being environmentally backing, we've also provided educational visits for schools, and we have a large number. So now we're having to revert next year to actually having to charge them. And having been a teacher myself, I realise how difficult finding funds are. So, but yet it's so important that we get these children out into the countryside to see the real world. for want of a better word.
Away from their tablets.
Oh, very much so. Well, that's what Cobble Hay Farm and Gardens is about. Actually getting the family together, having fun, talking about, getting at one with nature and getting away from electronic devices. Just listening to one of the exercises I do with the kids is get them to listen to the quiet. Because it's very rare that you can actually go anywhere where you can't hear a car. And it's true here.
Apart from the birds.
Oh yeah, well, it's talking about the birds. It's quite funny, really, because one of our visitors came to us and said, "That's an excellent audio system you've got in the gardens, haven't you?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, that bird song's incredible." I says, "That's not a bird song, love. It's the real thing." So, you know, it's amazing people's perception because, again, you know, obviously the garden has its own lots of birds around and about, and it's incredible to see how many different varieties are, because again, I was never a great knowledge of birds, but it's certainly grown over the years. But again, the kids are fascinated by the blackbirds and the blue tits and the wagtails and the robins and everything else. We've just actually had a group of schools from Longridge High come through this last week, and again they were looking at the nests of the swallows, they were looking at the nests of the thrush, or even, well, I can't really call it a nest, but it's supposed to be a nest of the wood pigeon. The wood pigeon's nest is just literally a load of sticks. That's it. It's pathetic. It's a real, you know, 0 out of 10 for effort, whereas a thrush is an incredible piece of art. So again, getting them to understand what goes on in their environment, getting them to look and listen and smell.
Well, thank you very much, Edwina, for the interview, and I hope the farm goes from strength to strength. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, and again, you can always come and visit us, because obviously we've got our cafe and tea rooms, which again, we support all local people. We use all local produce, and everything is made on the property ourselves. So again, and we're open from Thursday through till Sunday, and we look forward to seeing anybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.